I know, I'm a gamer, y'all. I'm a gamer, I know. I stayed up way too late last night. This is part of the reason I'm talking about this today. Hello, and welcome. Today's topic is going to be, for this Mental Health Monday, all about avoiding burnout and what to do to prevent yourself feeling totally overwhelmed, especially in regards to not having enough time for your games and life and all of that. Sometimes it feels like it's spinning out of control or there's too much going on, and how do you deal with that? Well, I'm going to share a couple of tips how I handle it, some things that you can apply in your own life, and that is today's topic. So welcome. If this is your first time here, thank you for joining me. I'm Gregory, and this is my vlog where I talk about D&D, RPGs, and all kinds of other madness around gaming and the gaming community. I also would love to share with you that tonight I am going to be on One Crit Wonders channel for a really awesome talk with him and DnDo. I have mentioned this a couple times over the weekend. 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern. We're going to be talking all about Dungeons and Dragons and being a DM, and we're probably going to talk about TPKs because why not? It's a fun topic. Now back to what I want to talk and share with you about today. First and foremost, I should let you know this. I'm actually a certified hypnotherapist and personal development coach. So with that knowledge, with the experience and the education that I've gleaned, plus my own personal path, I want to share a couple things because I started to notice over the last few days, I was starting to feel like, oh my God, there's so much I want to do and I don't have enough time for it all. I can totally relate to this. I deal with it all the time, and it can create a ton of stress in our lives. So what are the ways to get through that? What are some simple ways to get through that? Well, check this out. I have done a series back in the day called 4 Points. I did 4 points for players, 4 points for DMs, and I'm going to kind of bring that back around because today I happen to have 4 points to help you manage stress in the sense of some time management and some tips to avoid feeling overwhelmed, feeling like totally like you're running out of time. This will help you. So the first one, here's another thing. These might seem counterintuitive, so please bear with me till the end. It will all make sense. And the first one is probably the simplest, and you might even discount it. The first one is simply use a calendar. I really suggest if you don't, you're probably watching this on a phone. If you're not, you're probably on a computer. Otherwise, I'm not sure how you'd be watching this. Maybe a tablet. One way or the other, you have access to digital technology. You have access to your iCal or a Google Calendar or some such app that you can use to put your information on your phone so that you can create reminders and so that you can look ahead and see what's coming up. No, I can't play D&D this Wednesday night because every Wednesday night I play D&D. I run a D&D game. And again, this might seem a little ridiculous and silly. I am also suggesting this has hugely helped me in reducing stress because now, not only do I know I can look at my calendar to remember, what time are we starting the game? I can also set a reminder for myself because I don't want to miss my appointments and I like to be on time or early for my games and for my meetings and so forth. That is my first tip. Use a calendar. The second one is not quite as obvious and again, it might seem counterintuitive or something, but here's the thing. You have to honor your schedule. If you set a time for yourself to go to bed at night or to get it up in the morning, you absolutely have to honor that. This is one, I'm telling you, this is one I am struggling with a lot, y'all. And I know how effective it is. So I'm kind of doubling down on it this week of no, I have to get in bed by a certain time so that I can get enough sleep, so that I can get up in the morning at the time I want to get up, so that I feel like I'm making progress in my life. And if you can capture that feeling of progress, all the other stuff will kind of fall away. All the stress and challenge will feel like fun It'll feel like, oh boy, instead of oh no. So there's this funny thing. Anxiety can come in two forms. Is it oh no, or is it oh boy? Like, which one would you rather feel? So these are some tricks. Again, these are 4 tricks that will help you move into that feeling of like, oh boy, like you're excited about your day. You're excited about what you've got scheduled on your calendar. So number 3 is tied into what I just said. Get enough sleep. I know. I'm a gamer, y'all. I'm a gamer. I know. I stayed up way too late last night. This is part of the reason I'm talking about this today. My vlogs are just as much for me to like get this stuff out of my head as they are because I genuinely, oh, I can talk today, I promise. Because I genuinely want to maybe offer some helpful, friendly suggestions that might help you in your life. So get enough sleep, y'all. It's super important. Drink enough water. Make sure you get outside during the day for like 20 minutes if you can, at least. In the morning is the best. And then that little bit of exposure to the sunlight and so forth, even if it's cloudy and stuff, being outside will still do the trick because that will make it easier for you to get to sleep at night. And then go back to number 2, honor your schedule. If you set a time, you need to go to sleep as close to that time as you possibly can. It's okay if you go over a few minutes, but don't say, I'm going to go to sleep at 10 at night, tonight, or whatever, and at 2 in the morning, you're like, oh my gosh, I got to get up in 3 hours or whatever it is, or, something like that. So help yourself out and get enough sleep at night. The final one is, number 4 is, this is probably the simplest. When you feel like you've got too much on your plate, this is the most counterintuitive. If you feel like you're like, oh my gosh, how am I going to get this all done? You have to take a break. You have to take a break because it's like, think about water through a hose. If you keep building up pressure and building up pressure, remember those old Looney Tune cartoons or things like that where you have somebody that like pinches a hose and then the hose keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Eventually it might pop. That's reality. That's kind of what we experience. So the stress keeps building and building and building. And pretty soon it feels like, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose it. Here's the reality. You got to have a pressure relief valve. You have to like take the pressure off. And taking a break is probably the simplest and most effective way to do that. You don't have to stop altogether. I'm just suggesting that maybe you take a break for a couple minutes. Like during your day, if you're feeling that pressure, recognize you might need to stop and take 5. With that take 5, you've all heard that term. I've heard it 100 million times. Just take 5. These 5 minutes could be the best thing you ever do for yourself. And if you're in a situation where you're at work and you're on a clock and so you're expected to be at your desk or at your task all day, you can still take a 5-minute break. Because if you're at your desk and you are just simply relaxing, drinking some water, and putting things out of your mind for 4 or 5 minutes, it could be even 3 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes, and just letting it all go. That's the biggest trick. Let it all go. Actually choose to like just let it go. You'll pick it up in a minute. It'll be right there. But for this moment, okay, I'm letting it all go. And taking a break like that will re-energize you. It'll revitalize you. It'll help you to refocus your energy and effort. Now, on a bigger scale, this number 4 is also important because if you're playing games every night, like you got DnD tonight, you got Star Wars the next night, and you're playing, I don't know, Call of Cthulhu another night. You've got game after game after game, or session after session, or you're going for these long marathon, like 4 or 5 hour game sessions and that kind of thing. It's easy to burn out from that too, especially if you're a DM. And so sometimes you might need to just take a break and let everybody in your gaming group know, hey y'all, I love this game and I need a week off. And that's okay. The world's not going to end. Nothing is going to come crashing to a halt if you do that. It's absolutely okay. I'm giving you permission to do this. Take a break. It might just be for a day. It might just be for a minute or an hour. But sometimes you need to take a week off or longer, and that's okay. You can come back to it when you're ready. Now, hey, if you stuck around, I thank you. If you stuck around this long and you're still listening, awesome, because you get a bonus. This one's primarily for DMs. However, it applies to all of us, equally the same. For DMs, I know as a DM myself, last week I felt really underprepared. The players sort of went in, let's say, ahead faster or in a different angle, or I just didn't have enough ready to go, and it made me feel like, oh no, like stressed out. So what I'm doing now is this, and this is my tip to you. Schedule time for prep. Because if you don't plan time to do your prep, you might not find the time to do your prep, and then you'll be all that much more stressed out when it comes time to run your session. You'll be like, oh gosh, I'm not ready for this. And it's never fun as a DM to run a session like that. And it could be for as a player too, working on a backstory or actually rolling up and creating your character before the game starts. You know, if your game time is at 9 o'clock, I don't recommend starting your character at 8:30 on game night. It's probably not the best idea. You might come up with a winner, but schedule your planning time. And that, I promise you, will help you in the long run. So there you go. There's actually 5 tips for reducing stress around feeling totally overwhelmed and to avoid burnout. This is 5 ways to avoid burnout. Thank you for joining me today. I will have another one of these vlogs tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. I can't wait to see you at a table someday, my friends. And remember, it's your game. Play your way.